Hey everyone, it's xScarlife here. In this video I'm going to walk you through the complete and updated installation of my ElvUI xScarlifeUI profile. Since the last install guide, a lot has changed with the midnight update, so in this video I'm going to replace all previous installation videos. But before we jump into the installation itself, there are two important things that I would like to mention. First of all, my profile is designed with performance in mind without compromising functionality. Everything is bundled through a single installer, which keeps your add-on setup clean and your game running smoothly. Secondly, the interface is primarily built for a 1440p screen resolution. If you are playing on a lower resolution, that is absolutely fine, but some elements may appear slightly smaller and might need some minor adjustments, but as long as you follow this video from start to finish and don't skip any steps, everything should work without issues. With that out of the way, let's first go over the required add-ons. These are essential and should not be skipped. Now, the core of the entire interface is ElvUI, and on top of that I use the details damage meter, which is still more powerful and flexible than the default Blizzard damage meters in retail. I also recommend Wine Tools, which adds some extra features that integrate seamlessly with ElvUI. Lastly, there is also Bigwix, which basically replaces your Blizzard default boss warnings. Now, Bigwix is of course optional, so if you prefer to use the default Blizzard warnings, you can simply skip this add-on. Now, besides the required add-ons, there are also a few optional ones that I highly recommend if you want the interface to look exactly like mine. The Platynator nameplates is a clean and fully customizable replacement for the default Blizzard nameplates. But keep in mind that when installing my profile, the built-in ElvUI nameplates are disabled by default. I also use the add-on called the Cooldown Manager Centered, which allows me to track my cooldowns in a way that fits perfectly within the interface, and Sensei class resource bar works together with the Cooldown Manager and provides the resource bars. And finally, the Masque together with Masque adds a glossy finish to your action bars, buffs and debuffs. With all of that covered, the first real step in the installation process is creating a backup of your WTF folder. This gives us a clean starting point and ensures none of your existing settings are lost in case something goes wrong. Now, to do this, you have to open your Battle.net launcher, click the cogwheel icon that you can find next to the play button, and choose the option to show in Explorer. For this example, I'm using the retail version. Now, inside the game folder, simply rename your current WTF folder to something like WTF old, and this way your old settings are safely stored. Next, we need to download the add-ons. You can do this through CurseForge, WowUp, or any other add-on manager that you prefer, and you will also find all the add-on links and import strings on my website, which is linked in the video description. Now, at this point, make sure that you download the core add-on, which is ElvUI, along with Details Damage Meter and Wine Tools. If you plan on using the optional add-ons, now is also the time to download Platynator nameplates, Bigwix, Cooldown Manager Centered, Sensei class resource bar, Masque and Masque. Once the add-ons are downloaded, we can now install ElvUI itself. In this video, I'm going to show you the manual installation method, but you can also install ElvUI automatically through the WowUp add-on manager if you prefer. So go to the ElvUI website and download the zip file. Open up the zip file and then head back to your Battle.net launcher. Click the cogwheel icon next to the play button and choose to show in Explorer. And navigate to the interface folder followed by the add-ons folder and paste in the 3 ElvUI folders directly into the add-ons folder. So now that we have everything installed, it is time to launch the game. If you see an introduction window when you are logging in, that is completely normal and it simply means that you are using a fresh WTF folder. At the character selection screen, click the menu at the top and choose Addons. Here it is important to disable all add-ons and only enable the ones that are needed for the setup. So make sure that Cooldown Manager Centered, Masque, all ElvUI modules, Platynator, Bigwigs, Details Damage Meter and the Sensei class resource bar is enabled. Once you enter the game world, you will see several add-on setup pop-ups. You can close all of them except for the ElvUI Setup. This setup is a one-time process and is especially important if this is your first time that you are installing ElvUI. But before you continue with the ElvUI Setup, you have to click the Platynator button as the add-on of preference for this setup. Your game will do a first reload and after the reload it's time to set up your CVARs, which is also a required step and should not be skipped. Continue through the setup until you reach the UI scale option, where I recommend using the auto scale feature. After that you can continue through the remaining steps as they are not essential for this setup. When you click finished, the game will do a second reload. After the reload, my xScarlifeUI ElvUI profile installer will appear and this is also a one-time setup. Click continue to begin and start by importing the profile by clicking the button underneath the picture, followed by the private profile in the third step of the setup. When you get a message to override your settings, simply click on accept and reload your game. You will then see the option to install my Details Damage Meter profile if you would like to use it. The Omni CD step can be skipped in Retail as this is only relevant for Classic. Next, click the Setup Wine Tools button to install that profile as well. After that, you will see the Bigwigs setup step, which installs my Bigwigs profile if you are using the add-on. Once that is done, click finished and the game will reload one last time. At this point, most of the interface is already fully configured, but there are a few optional steps left to fine-tune everything. The first one is importing the Blizzard edit mode layout. This step is important if you want the Cooldown Manager and the Sensei class resource bar to line up exactly the way as I have them set up. So head over to my website, copy the Blizzard edit mode import string, then go back in game, hit escape, open the edit mode and click the drop down menu at the top and choose import. Paste in the import string and give the layout a name such as xScarlifeUI and make sure that it is selected as your active layout. Now we can move on to the cooldown related profiles. First we will import the Cooldown Manager Centered profile. Therefore head back to my website and copy the import string, then in-game press escape, open the add-ons menu and from there open the Cooldown Manager Centered, go to profiles and import the profile. Give it a proper name and click import. Once it is imported, your game will ask you to reload and the cooldown profile should be imported. After that, we will do the same for the Sensei class resource bar. Again, copy the import string from my website, then go back in game, open the add-ons menu and select the Sensei class resource bar and import the profile. Once both of the profiles are imported, you should see that the cooldown manager and the resource bars align nicely with the player and the target frames. To make sure that the cooldowns are displayed in the correct order, I use the profiles that are created by Luxtos. Of course, full credit goes to him as he is a trusted source for these setups. On my website you can also find a link to his cooldown manager profiles. From his website you can simply choose your class, copy the import string, then in-game open the Blizzard cooldown manager options, open the drop-down menu and click import. Paste the string, give the profile a clear name such as Blood Decay in my example, and make sure that the profile is selected as your main profile. Upon doing so, it will completely reorder your spells in the right order based on the importance. Before we continue, there is one quick but important tip that I would like to make. Make sure that your Blizzard settings for the tracked buffs, essential cooldowns and your utility cooldowns match what you see on screen. If these settings are not configured correctly, parts of your setup may not work as intended. For this step, I do recommend pausing the video and copy the settings shown just to make sure that everything is set up correctly. Next, let's take care of the nameplates. Head back to my website and click the download button, which will then redirect you to the wago.io Platynator profile that is created by Jundies. I have been using his nameplates for a very long time and they're also very clean, matching my setup, so full credit go to Jundies for these nameplates. In game, go to your Platynator options via the normal menu or by typing /platy in your chat window. Click import and paste in the profile string and choose the option to make a new profile. Give it a proper name, in this case I'm going to call it Jundies. And then we have arrived at the final step, which is adding the glossy effect to your action bars using Masque. Type /Masque in your chat window, click the ElvUI section and select the Kate skin from the drop-down menu and make sure that the gloss option is enabled, which will apply the effect to your action bars. At this point, your xScarlifeUI setup should be complete and fully configured. If you run into any issues or have questions, please feel free to join my Discord server and I will be happy to help you out. If you prefer installing the profiles manually without using the installer, all import strings are also available on my website for advanced users, of course completely for free. And that's it, my friends. If you found this guide helpful, feel free to give it a thumbs up, don't forget to subscribe for more World of Warcraft content, and as always, thanks for watching. This was xScarlife and I see you in the next one.